Alright, this first one is from the First Choice Inn, from a lady who works there in Rawlins, Wyoming. This lady and her co-worker later informed me that those officers had spoken about how there is evidence in my vehicle of wrongdoing of officers and so on and so forth, and that the officers had it towed instead of saving it for evidence. Officers did this frequently with evidence because I told them, and this is on the computer that they stole, I told them that I was after bad officers and I was trying to get an honest court date. They outright lied. That video shows it and proves it, but because they stole that computer and lied, well, they have prevented me from having an honest court date, as always. That's the blue line of bullshit for you. This woman here was going to write me another one, but she's also the one that informed me that the police department called them and told them specifically not to rent me a room by name. This lady and her co-worker also informed me of how rotten the police there are. It took the lady about, 5 minutes to write this. Sean Schwartz came into the First Choice Inn in Rawlins, Wyoming tonight needing help with payment for a room after being released from jail in Carbon County. I called the Carbon County Sheriff's Office to see if they would point me in the right direction as far as who to contact to help Mr. Schwartz. I was told to contact the Rawlins PD. When speaking to Rawlins Police Department, they told me that the officers said not to authorize transient funds to Mr. Schwartz and that the funds come from an organization of local churches and that those churches go with the Rawlins Police Department recommendations as well as the Rawlins police officers. They stole my shelter. They stole my evidence and then threw me out into that weather. Now that is part of my story because, well, there's a lot more to it. This one's from Shannon Alvarado. It took her about 6 hours to get this done, believe it or not. Now, she does have an autistic child and also is dealing with myself and Rick and a lot of other people, but that's the thing, is that she was able to write a report. That's exactly what this is. It doesn't have to be on police paperwork or on police paraphernalia, I should call it. It's their special, whatever the special paper is called. I can't remember at the moment. But this is 2 pages by Shannon. One of them has her phone number on it, so I'm not going to show you much of that. Now both of these didn't take long. They're just little bits and pieces of my story. That's the thing about not having one person like family to sit down and look at it all and to go through it all with me. Having to go to the police stations by myself, the police don't turn on their body cameras, and that way they can say whatever they want. And the police did this repeatedly, because repeatedly I was trying to let them know what the police had done. Now, they can't take a report about that because of jurisdiction and so on and so forth, but they can lie across jurisdictional boundaries. They can steal my computer in Wyoming and send it to Colorado to the very officers that I was trying to make a report about. And it was the very officers in Rawlins, Wyoming, who I needed to make a report about, who are on the last video recorded on there. Those officers omitted out information. Every officer omitted information. And I have enough officers omitting information and enough officers who outright lied that's actually on court documents that yes, if I could get a lawyer to look at it, I could get an honest court date. I could also prove that they did everything in their power to prevent me from having an honest court date or from making a police report. And that includes stealing and destroying evidence illegally. Any lawyer worth his salt could win my case hands down. Problem is getting a hold of the evidence. I need a lawyer to do that. Nearly all of the stuff that people are asking me to do, I'm not allowed to do because of the mentally ill tag. So, I just want to let you know that I have witnesses from Clearview. I have their information. I just went through some of my stuff and found it. I also found several witnesses from the jail, their information. These are all witnesses that should have been spoken with. The police should have spoken with Miss Peaches. The police should have spoken with Miss Shannon. I was harassed by people from one end of this country to the other, plus people in other countries. Other countries, that's right. Australia, England, all sorts of people threatening my life, threatening to harm me, but not following through. Now I plan on killing people with time behind bars. In exchange for the police doing their jobs and putting these actual predators behind bars, I'm willing to sit behind bars with these predators. Yes, I broke the law, but I had to. I tried all other options. I tried all other options before Natalie died. Nobody wanted to listen. Miss Peaches could do what it is that Shannon did there and sit down and write the report. That's what I needed. For people to sit down and do exactly that. Now, yes, it did take Shannon 6 hours, but that's because she kept on wanting to talk to me. Tell me. No, telling me does not get the story on paper. It doesn't get what you have to say on paper so that it can be used and utilized. Now, had people done that in January of 2018, I could have gotten an honest court date. Miss Peaches, it's been over 2 years, and she still has not done so. Of course, Miss Peaches was involved in a lot more than Shannon was, and Shannon didn't write most of it down. The part about Kara Johnson, she still hasn't written down. Although I do have that in video where we speak about it. The problem is Shannon is asking me to get her information because she can't remember parts of it. And I cannot get that information to her because the computer with all that information on it was stolen by Wyoming police. So yeah, there's that. When I say stolen, I do mean stolen. That computer was open and with me when they took it. That should have gone into property and evidence with me. Not requisitioned to send back to Colorado because those officers lied. Those officers should not be allowed to send the proof that they lied to another state. There's a lot more to the story than that, though. That's kind of the point here, is that it's not difficult to write it down. Now, if you're a single parent, I understand if it's difficult to find the time, but if you can't find the time in a year and a half, yeah, you don't care. You're bullshitting me. Miss Peaches, a year and a half? Seriously? You couldn't write anything down in a year and a half. Not one word in a year and a half. You said you'd go in with me to see the police. When I finally got the appointment, you couldn't go in. Now, the reason that you couldn't go in with me is important, Miss Peaches. That is important. These are important details. Now, that computer that was stolen by the Rollins Police Department. It also has interviews with Bobby Forrest and Jamie Curtis. Now, obviously, I would prefer that that went to my lawyer as opposed to going on YouTube, but I don't have a lawyer, and I need statements from people like Miss Peaches in order to get that lawyer. Once I have that lawyer can requisition information from these other lawyers who did not do their jobs, and he can also requisition to have Jeff. I'm not sure if you guys are really familiar with this feller. He was my therapist when Natalie died. The one who was supposed to be helping me get a lawyer. See, that's the thing. I am a disabled adult. I was trying to get help, and that help fell through. Jeff Ritter, Jeffritter, Colorado Coalition for the Homeless is where he works. And then there's Kara Heller. She works at the same place. If I can get those people to do what it is that they said that they would do, which is write a report about the things that they saw and the things that these people were doing, then the police can't pretend that I'm all alone anymore. They tried to pretend like nobody was trying to help. Lots of people were trying to. Most of them were broke, and a lot of them were put under severe financial strain because my money was all gone. Miss Peaches did a lot for me. Problem is, she didn't write that report. Shannon Alvarado, she did a lot for me. But without her writing that report, it all went down the toilet. It all just compounds itself. See, until I am allowed to get an honest day in court, which I can't even begin proceedings with until these people write the truth, even if it's just their truth, that's the fact, according to them, well, it's at least honest. Miss Peaches does not agree with me on every detail. Miss Shannon does not agree with me on every detail. But you know what? That doesn't detract from the fact that they know many details.